But I was gonna close. Yeah. Right now.
For various reasons.
Good evening and welcome to the Sunbury, Ohio Village Council meeting. It is August 18th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Would you mind joining me for a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Joe St. John.
Here.
Damon Capel.
Here.
Greg Elliott.
Here.
Tim Goes.
Here.
Martin Fisher.
Here.
David Martin.
Here.
Cindy Cooper. Here. 7 present.
There was a meeting on August 4th, 2021. The minutes are in the packet for you to review. I believe we did have all attendees in attendance. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Greg Elliott.
Second.
Second by Martin Fisher. Discussion.
Under the, where it talks about the approval for the Kiwanis and the fact that they presented to us, and it said that I made a motion and Cindy Cooper seconded the motion, but it doesn't say whether it was ever voted on.
Oh, okay. I'll fix that.
Thank you. Did we vote on it?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And a little later in it, I don't have the copy in front of me because I'm sharing with Cindy, but at one point it said the word toward instead of forward, about moving something forward.
My spell check didn't catch that one.
Do you need an agenda, Dave? Because I'm not using mine.
Well, if you're not using
I
yours,
got mine up on my
we
computer.
discussed you earlier. when you
Oh,
weren't
We
here
took
for
your finance.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So we'll
Thanks,
make,
Damon.
we'll make the edits Mr. Martin had recommended. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas.
There was an August 9th, 2021 meeting. This would have been 2 Mondays ago. I was not in attendance, I believe.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Greg Elliott. Discussion. Roll call.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Abstain.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Abstain.
2
All right, we-
abstentions, 5 yeas.
Thank you. We're on to the visitor section. We do have a couple of visitors in the stands, but maybe just listening in. Would anybody like to say anything? All right, good deal. We have the watchful eyes of the public on us tonight. All right. We're on the committee reports. I'm going to start with Mr. David Martin.
I don't have a committee report tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing to report.
Thank you.
Nothing to report.
Damon Capel,
Nothing here.
Mr. Tim Gibbs.
Yes, we got the finance meeting we just held right prior to this meeting this evening. Discussed a few items there, a couple of resolutions that we'll be considering tonight. One is the 2021.13 about the municipal, it's actually authorizing us and the finance director to spend money primarily associated with the Sparks property that was recently purchased. And then we have resolution 2021.14 considering the annual tax incentive review commission. So we'll be talking about those here shortly. We also spoke briefly about salary and spending limit changes that will have to be considered if we want to make any increases this year, probably with our next meeting. Damon and I'll have a subcommittee meeting in the next couple of weeks with Ms. Belcher to talk about that further and come to you next month. And the main point of discussion was with Mr. Parkinson and the CT talking about the water and wastewater infrastructure grant program, State of Ohio, Department of Development. They're rolling out a new grant program. We're under HB 168. They have up to $250 million to spend. And so we talked about a couple of options to pursue and gave him some guidance on that. That's all been recorded in the finance meeting, so I'm not going to repeat that unless anyone else would like to hear anything further.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Elliott?
Nothing to report.
All right. I did want to let you know that the zoning meeting has been moved to the 30th of this month. Okay. That's all I have as far as an update. We're on to the police report. Does the chief have anything for council this evening?
I don't have a report, just want to make you aware of a few things. We are getting hit in the neighborhoods really hard with people going through cars, breaking into cars. Sunbury Meadows, that area is a really hot area right now. We got a call Sunday night from a resident that were having to be up and see people going through their vehicle. We get down there, as they're approached, they jump into a Jeep. When they run the tag, it's stolen out of Columbus. There's a pursuit, ends up down at 23 and 270. We'll correct the Jeep, bail out, scale the wall, are gone. If you guys see something in that area, well, it doesn't look right. I mean, we've talked to people that are, I've seen this, but I really didn't want to bother you with it. I want to bother us because these guys that are coming up here are not good guys.
They're just hitting vehicles, right?
Right now, they're just hitting vehicles.
What time of the,
That was at
Like-
8:30 in the morning.
is that pretty consistent between 2 and 3?
That particular vehicle had been pursued 2 other times and they got away. It was pursued over by Powell, Delaware County deputy, seen it, let's stop it. I don't know if you guys remember, but like a few months ago, we had a Jeep and another vehicle stolen from Sunbury Meadows. The Jeep that was stolen from here was in tandem with this Jeep over by Powell. This Jeep, when we did finally get it, brought it back, processed it, there was all kinds of stolen equipment to it. There was, or stolen items, there was vehicle equipment in there, there was key fobs for several other vehicles, there was a stolen handgun in there. Yeah, just we see something report. I mean, I can't stress that enough. We'll put it on Facebook, but the best way to get it out is to do it. So don't hesitate, but please follow us.
Is this forced entry, chief, or is it mostly unlocked vehicles?
The vehicles are locked, they're not messing with them.
So maybe an idea to get the homeowners association potentially and or the village to get something out to the residents. It's imperative that you lock your vehicles, especially when you're on street parking or even in the driveways. It's vehicles now, but it hasn't always been.
It'll turn to houses.
It will, and it has.
Yeah.
If you remember the Pauls, what happened to them? That's only been a couple, 3 years ago, I guess.
We get people that sometimes get upset with us because we come to their house at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Bunch of garage door." You know, I've been yelled at several times, but what they don't realize is how many of you lock your entry door to your house from your garage? You don't.
Where residents have woke up, they came right in an open window on the front porch. So,
So we're not, I mean, we don't have the issues that they have everywhere else, but they're coming. So we'd rather, I mean, Franklin County actually has a task force put together right now, just because of this group of people. I want to talk to the lieutenant down at the aviation department today, and he's like, really, they're in Sunbury. You couldn't believe they were coming this far north. Just they're here.
So a silly question, chief, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we see something and we're calling 911, or is that what we're calling to?
Call 911, you can, I mean.
Is the non-emergency line open at 2 in the morning?
Yes, if you call the 1411 number, it takes you right, it doesn't even really bring in us anymore since we went through the phone system. It goes
Okay.
right to the dispatcher. But if you see somebody out going to your car, by all means, call 911.
Okay.
So it's not like it's your average 14-year-old kid that's looking for change anymore. I mean,
Right.
Sure, but somebody last time that, we got 2 people identified out of the stolen vehicles that we had. Both those individuals have launched a homicide right now.
Wow.
So we're getting the inner city gang members basically that are up here into your cars. I just wanted that.
And the easiest way to stop them from coming here is you take away what they want, and that's by locking your cars. Me included.
The reason they're traveling this far is because we're complacent.
Exactly.
And that complacency doesn't exist in the city. They've been around it too long. They've adjusted. We need to adjust, unfortunately.
We don't expect to look out and see, 5 people in the yard.
We can spread the word of mouth, and maybe Mr. Piles can put something on our Facebook page as well.
As I say, if we got something on Facebook, we could all share it,
Mhm.
ask our friends in our neighborhoods to share it and get it out.
Mhm.
I don't know if it should come from the village or from the police, maybe too. I don't know.
Yeah, we put something together, somehow on ours.
Yeah, I think it should, Bill, I think both, and then we can share.
Well, this is so new, again, Sunday, so many things that we're trying to worship through some things, with different jurisdictions and finding out that, our stolen vehicles from here or different locations and so these people can see this is the third time. For the state up here too. Sizzle sound, and let this weekend, we're always prepared for that as we can be. About that.
Just to tag on to that, I think I mentioned I've met with every business owner, I'll say that has a liquor license on the square, either in person with the chief or over the phone. And each one has a safety plan. They're all tuned in to the kind of the national climate of what's going on right now. They're all tuned in to, the rising threat of the pandemic. Everybody knows we're going to have an increased police presence. We're going to have, it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a good time, but we're also very prepared in case things, go awry. That's the reality of it. So I appreciate all the partnership that you and the Civic Association and the business community have done to make sure that we're prepared for this event.
It's been really easy this year. I had concerns about how it's going to be, and we were at suggestions that we were going to work with today, and that people were going to carry something. Everything is just smooth.
Agreed.
You'll make sure it doesn't rain.
Yes, please. It's like that. I did have one more thing. If anybody have any questions for the chief or comments? I did have the pleasure of meeting future Deputy Chief Sean Wade this evening, and it was a pleasure talking with him. I think I would encourage each one of you, once you get sworn in on Friday, he'll be with us, comes from the Sheriff's Department, 19 years experience. He was with 10 years with Morrow County. Before that, I think he's going to be a real blessing for our community. Extremely professional. You can tell he means business and brings a lot of experience with him, and really looking forward to you all meeting with him soon. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We're on to the administrator report. Mr. Piles.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. My report was in your packet. I won't go through it in detail. Certainly ask any questions if you have any. I did want to add a couple things. You probably noticed the tree that was a safety concern is down, and they were also trimming the other trees up here around the town hall. Our summer help is done. We had a good summer, and they really did quite a job on the flowers this year. I think those were looking very good. June was in, I think you all had the opportunity to meet Olivia. June was in to do some training with her on our Civic Plus. software for our website today. They made an amazing amount of content progress. The council page is up to date, and so take a tour through it, see if there's anything that we missed, but Olivia's taking to it well, and June reluctantly said, I guess I can be replaced, so.
Nobody can replace June.
Yeah. And I'd be happy to answer any questions in the report. One of the items that's in there is the recruitment package for the assistant administrator. If you have any comments on that, either tonight or in the next day or so, my plan is to get that thing out on Friday. There's a job description. There's a basic want ad that we'll put. It'll hit a couple national job boards and the Ohio Municipal League board. And then there's also a recruitment brochure. We'll have it on the website if somebody wants to, maybe they're from another state. Where's Sunbury? What's Sunbury about? It gives them a little bit of background on who we are and what we're trying to be about. So.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Any
I just
questions?
want to say real quick, just thank you for all the communication that it's only been 2.5 weeks and it's been great. It's been a joy to have you on board with us as administrator.
Thank you. I'm like a duck, very calm on the top and paddling like crazy underneath the water right now.
I second that. Good deal. Thank you. Anything else for Mr. Piles? Good deal. Engineers report, Mr. Parkinson.
Thank you, Mayor. I uploaded the engineer's report on Monday to the OneDrive. I'm just going to touch briefly on a few things. The facilities plan update for the wastewater treatment plant will be completed next week. We will sit down with Dale and walk through it with him. After that, we'll submit it to the administrator and to council for their perusal. Upon receipt of any feedback, we'll finalize the document and submit it to Ohio EPA for review and approval. 2021 wastewater treatment plant improvements project, the base design is mostly done. We're going to design a new clarifier as well. The total package design will be completed by middle of September. At that point, we'll distribute the plans for review, and upon feedback, we'll submit to Ohio EPA for a permit to install. We had a great conversation this evening in the Finance Committee regarding investing in Ohio's future, the wastewater grant program. We've selected 3 projects to submit to the county engineer for inclusion on his priority list. The 2021 street wastewater treatment plant improvements program will be our #1 priority. It'll be a shovel-ready project. We'll ask that it be considered for a construction grant. We'll also submit 2 projects for design grant consideration. One will be the Little Walnut Creek Interceptor Sewer Phase 2 extension, and the other will be the Little Walnut Creek Lift Station Force Main design, which is the lift station for the west side of the Little Walnut Creek. Preservation Parks grant application will be submitted prior to October 1st. We're going to submit Phase 4 of the Ohio Fallen Heroes Trail for that. The Bauman Street drainage issues, the survey has been scheduled for late next week, early following week. We'll have sketches completed and submitted to the administrator and the street superintendent by the middle of September so they can solicit quotes from responsible contractors. Price Farms is busy. There's an ordinance on your agenda tonight for a first reading to approve the mass excavation plan. They want to get started moving dirt while they finish the design work. We're also reviewing the traffic impact study that was revised and resubmitted. And we're still working with them on 1 or 2 minor issues with the preliminary plat. There were contingencies applied to the plat approval. They failed to meet at least one of those, and we're trying to get them to fix that. So they're going gangbusters, and they're to Steve's point, it's a little bit of the duck. You don't see much going on with Price Ponds, but they're working like crazy underneath the underneath the surface, so that's going to explode. And then we've got all our normal little projects that have been under construction for a while. They're still piddling along. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is the turn lane on 36, 37, that's completed? Is that done?
It is substantially completed, yes.
How's the trail construction out at the reservoir, Dave, coming along?
You know, I stopped by tonight, chain was locked, we've done a double walk with the contractor so he can secure his equipment, so I wasn't able to get in to see how much work has been done.
Any issues or anything?
I've not heard any problems, and he was gonna start with the tree clearing on the embankments and stuff, so he may still be kind of cleaning up some of that before he gets ready to cut the trail in.
Just one other item I didn't see on here, but I wanted to give CT credit for is we just wrapped up the first round of municipal staff interviews regarding the space planning study for the municipal building. And we should have a pretty good output of data on Friday with potential second round of interviews. I know the chief and somebody else, Detective Smith, met with Michael Anderson from CT for a couple of hours because we didn't have good floor plans for the police station. And they talked through some of the challenges that we have. And I invite you to come over for a walkthrough with me if you want to know what type of challenges we're talking about.
Is that this Friday?
This Friday, we should have what I would call a data dump or like a data analysis review. Like, hey, how much space is underutilized, or how difficult is it to get through the building for the purposes in which we use it today?
And I will add that project to the list. That's being handled by our architect group out of the Cincinnati office, and I'm not involved, and that's why I didn't think they had it, but I will get it in there next time.
Thank you. All right. Anything for Mr. Parkinson? Good deal. We are on to resolutions. We have a first reading, a resolution authorizing the village finance director to expend funds from the impact fees to purchase, restore, and develop real property for creation of additional parking for municipal facilities and declaring an emergency. I believe this is related to the purchase of the property. Are there any questions or comments? Anything from staff that we need to know? This needs passed and we're
I
ready.
would like it passed, then I would have the money ready because we're going to have closing, aren't we going to have closing?
September 10th, I believe, is the schedule.
So we could do one reading and pass it on the next time, but if we're all in agreement.
We talked about it in the finance committee meeting, so I think we all understand. And
you authorized the purchase in a special meeting from what I understand.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
on the
So it's
overnight.
just the mechanism of the funds coming out of the impact fee to help pay for it.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Martin, second by Tim Ghost. Discussion, roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
A motion on the emergency, Dave Martin,
Second.
Tim Ghost, second. Discussion, roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on resolution 2021.13.
Motion by David Martin,
Second.
second by Tim Ghost. Discussion, roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion passes. Resolution 2021.14, also a first reading, a resolution appointing representatives to the Delaware County Tax Incentive Review Council and declaring an emergency. I believe this is timely, and I believe David Martin has nominated himself once again to be our representative. Is that true, Mr.
I
Martin?
didn't nominate myself. I agreed to do it. There is a difference.
Along with Mr. Piles, I believe.
And Mr. Piles. We've got two representatives, and this is
We're a meeting next week as well.
for a meeting next week. So we need to get these guys in
Motion to suspend the rules.
Got a motion to suspend the rules, Greg Elliott. Second by Martin Fisher. Discussion, roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
I'll abstain.
Joe St. John,
Definitely.
Tim Ghost,
Affirmative, yes.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Right.
Motion on the emergency.
Second.
Motion on the emergency, Gregory Elliott, second by Martin Fisher. Discussion. Roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Abstain.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Motion on resolution 2021.14.
Motion by Greg Elliott, second by Martin Fisher on the resolution itself. Discussion. Roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Abstain.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Resolution passes. We're on to ordinances, second readings. Ordinance number 2021.01, second amended. An ordinance amending the 2021 annual appropriations and declaring an emergency. I can't remember the timing component on this.
I would like it passed tonight. We've already had 1 reading, and this again just moves money around, makes it more timely.
Can you give me the Cliff Notes version on what this
Yeah.
amended was? I saw it in here and it's the second one. So one of them was related to the streets program primarily.
This is passed through, and the first one allows me to spend resolution 2021-13 allows me to appropriate the money, but now I have to spend it. So I have to tell the county through the appropriations that we're going to spend it. So that's part of it. Increase, the pass-through is 200,000, and the capital line for the general fund was the 260. The back fees of 51,000, the pass-through, because we're just about, we can't appropriate more in your pass-throughs than what we have. So as we collect money through the years, I have to reappropriate more. And then the general fund is just everything else that we're going to be short on.
In future years, can we appropriate more money up
Yes,
front for the
yes,
pass-through,
yes.
knowing that it's going somewhere
I
anyways?
can't
and it's not?
appropriate more than what's in the fund.
Okay.
I can only appropriate what's in the fund at the end of the year. So as I spend all that, and then we get more pass-through through the year, I almost always will have to appropriate again.
Any other questions on this? Because it's
No. this
pretty
is
clear to me.
Second reading, right?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Thank you. Motion,
Second.
second by Cindy Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on the emergency.
Motion on the emergency.
Second.
Capel, second by Cindy Cooper. Discussion. We trust you, Kathy Belcher. Roll call.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Motion on ordinance number 2021.01, second amended.
Motion
Second.
by Damon Capel, second by Cindy Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Damon Campbell.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Tim Ghost.
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Greg Elliott.
Yes.
Martin Fisher.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're on to ordinance 2021.42, and this is a first reading. An ordinance amending permit inspection and connection charges and declaring an emergency. And I believe we have some folks that may be able to fill in the blanks on this one.
I'll start talking. When you get tired, just tell me to shut up. So we have in our code a way to prescribe sewer connection fees when someone comes in and they want to buy a tap and they want to connect to our sewer. And that prescription is based on the size of the water tap. This is an old way of doing it. It goes back to Columbus days. And the basis of our schedule is that houses would always have a 3/4 inch water tap and a 5/8 inch meter. We have just learned, after all this time, that Delco doesn't install 3/4 inch water taps on houses. They install 1 inch water taps. And so if we were to follow our code strictly, we should be charging these houses for a 1 inch water tap, which is today $27,601.
It's not just a 25% increase or something.
So,
Big difference.
Yeah.
so
3 times, yeah.
So there's two ways to go at this. The hard way is to trash this and restructure a different means of applying these charges. The easy way is what we did, which is in proposed section 6, the new section 6. Section A says that all single-family dwellings will be charged if they're equipped with a 1 inch tap, a typical Delco 1 inch tap and 1 inch service and 5/8 meter, based on a 3/4 inch water tap, based on the fee for a 3/4 inch water tap in the schedule above. Simple. And then we added section B. And section B says if you're a non-residential establishment and you can prove to us that you use water commensurate with that of a house, we'll let you do the same thing. But then we're going to come back at the end of the year and we're going to review all your water records to make sure that you told us correctly. And if you didn't, if you end up using a whole lot more water than you told us, we're going to charge you that connection fee accordingly. And so that gives us a way to come back. And we didn't invent this. I think Delaware does this. I think Delaware County does this. And so it seemed only fair to me to try to add that. And then the third thing I added is in C, and this is kind of off topic, but I found this in either Delaware or Delaware County, and I liked it because we struggle with this a lot in our town. And basically what it says, if you have a house that's on a septic system or a home aerator and you want to tie into the sewer, we want to encourage that. So we're only going to charge you half of what the fee would be. And, that has nothing to do with the problem today that I'm trying to solve, which is the fact that our code requires us to charge a 1 inch meter at a 1 inch fee. But I thought C was kind of fair and fit in with some conversation we've had recently here in town. And so I throw that out there. I offered it for your consideration as well, if you like the idea. And so that's basically the additions and changes we've made. We adjusted the schedule. The original schedule in your code goes back to, I think, 2007 maybe. And so we just updated it to today's fee based on what it is today. And we start going forward on January 1st of every year. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
And what's the need for the emergency for the ordinance?
Well, the next house that comes in, if they want to buy a sewer tap, we would, by code, should charge them based on the 1 inch fee in our code.
Okay.
Now, we haven't had this problem. I think I interrupted Mr. Breen. We haven't had this problem because primarily the only one that's been buying sewer taps, and they haven't been buying them, is Pulte, because they advance purchased in Dominion, all their taps from way back when.
Mm-hmm.
They're the primaries. We probably only had a handful, 3, 4, 5 residential things that we probably, if I had to hazard a guess, oh, you're a 3/4. You're a house. That's $8,200. We know what that is. You didn't even look at the schedule and or ask what the tap size was. And so they probably did the right thing when, like, Dr. and Mr. Long built their house and connected to the sewer. I'm sure we didn't charge them $27,000. So, and that was the right thing to do. That was the correct thing to do. So this gets everything kind of cleaned up, Tim. It doesn't have to go today, but it would help if it did.
So for B, who goes back at the end of the year and does the review and then?
I think the engineer, I think that's what it said.
I didn't read it, so I just
It
didn't.
says we shall demonstrate to the village engineer.
Okay.
Because I'm all about grabbing power, and so it was one more opportunity for me to flex some muscle.
So that brings me to another question. Is there an additional fee to do that? No. Okay. Then I like it. Yeah.
That's a 15-minute exercise.
Okay.
Frankly, so.
Well, let's see, what if they are not a village resident currently.
We don't generally let non-village residents connect to our sewer system.
You need to annex.
Correct. I'm just thinking in the context of our sewer agreement with the county and transition, you know, basically if they want to have sewer, they have to go through Sunbury, but then they got to transfer the property. We can talk about this offline. I'm not opposed to the agreement. It's just a nuance here that I want to make sure that it's taken into consideration. It's not going to be a lot of money, especially if it's a single family home.
And maybe you say something like any single family residential dwelling unit within the municipal boundaries of the village of Sunbury. Something like that you could add to it.
Can we maybe take a look at that language before the
I think we
next
should,
meeting?
and to Dave's point, it would be nice to have it cleaned up. There is some cleanup language in here. I mean, we've been processing applications as though this were already done.
Right.
So, and this retroactively approves that processing. I would have a first reading tonight and then come back in 2 weeks, and that allows you to think about it. To your point, you know, Joe, that's the exact Chattanooga situation where he annexed on the south side on 3 on the left side. On-site failing septic, just outside of the village limits. I really want your public sewer. I don't want to spend money to replace this on-site septic. I know it's going to subject my property to income tax, but I want the services that the village would provide. I want police, and I want sewer, I want administrative services. So, but all things to think about. We do have to think maybe and see about those 2 historical, relatively recent exact applications.
Right. And that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And those we did some interest-free financing, but there wasn't the adjustment in the cost.
Agreed.
To talk about that offline between now and next meeting.
Plan, thank you. Got a first reading under our belt. We're on to ordinance 2021.43, an ordinance approving the Price Pond section. Second one, mass excavation plan with contingencies and declaring an emergency. This is our first mass X plan that I'm aware of. Do you want to take us through it real quick?
It's, it may be your second because the schools did one. They just didn't call it a Mass X. They called it the preliminary something or other. So on big, large projects, a lot of times what happens is the contractor, the owner will want to come in and start moving earth. There's a lot of time involved in moving dirt. You don't like moving dirt in the middle of the winter. And so they get all their grades, kind of rough grades figured out. And they get a contract to just actually push dirt around. And that's what this is. And so they're still working on the design of the streets and the sewers and the water lines and all those things to actually build the subdivision. But they now are in a position that they can start moving some dirt while they're finishing up their design and getting their approvals through the EPA and then, you know, the county and Delco and things of that nature. And so that's all this is. In small projects, this is part of the design project. Mr. Newman, when he did his grading and mass grading and all of that was part of his construction package. But on bigger projects, this is what they do. So the high school did this, and I'm also told it was a little before my time that the middle school off of Cheshire also had a preliminary package that was primarily Mass X. So this is not ready to be approved tonight, but we wanted to get it on the agenda for maybe a first reading. There are some revisions that I had asked them to incorporate, and they said that they would be done by 2 weeks from now. It would be ready for approval in 2 weeks if council's pleasure. And then they would request emergency so that they could begin middle of next month, starting to move some dirt around.
And what is section 1? Approximately.
Section 1 is basically, it goes from Golf Course Road all the way over to Millstone Pond, Millstone Drive?
Stream Drive.
Millstone. The fire chief was very concerned about having all these houses with one way in and one way out. And so they revised their phasing plan to include the entire east-west road. So now there's 2 ways in and 2 ways out. And that's in essence section 1.
Is that virtually the entire property?
Well, it's the length of the entire property, but it does not, the section up against the middle school and up against Magnolia, that's another section. And the section down by the golf course development is not all in this either. So,
Okay.
But yeah, initially they were just going to kind of bite their way into the property from the west. Now they're just going to go, they'll have the whole thing east to west laid out.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Perkins? All right, we're on a new and unfinished business. Let's go through these. Got a motion vote to final legal approval invoice cloud contract. Question mark?
That is the invoice cloud for the utility billing. Dave would like further time.
So that
to review it.
could contingent upon final legal approval. If you ever have a relative, a kid that you want not to be an attorney, have them review an invoice cloud contract. Or you have trouble sleeping, that would be the two. But I'm making my way through it. Again, a lot of times these standard generic contract from these big companies like this, they're likely not going to change anything, but I do go through and at least point out to the administration the things to look for. Little tricks and nuances that they put in there that if you don't read the whole thing, you just don't know them. So that's the final legal approval part of it. I don't expect there's going to be anything that's going to be terminal, but
So if we vote on this tonight, we vote on it subject to your approval.
final legal approval.
I'll make that motion.
Well, really quickly, are they allowing red lines? Like, will it, if there's edits or red lines that we need to make?
I don't know. Again, that's the part of the process that we get into, whether it's a cell phone contract, whether it's a, elevator maintenance contract, whether, some of them just say that's our contract and we don't vary from
Take it or
it.
leave it.
But others will look at it. A lot of times it's, again, informational purposes only, so they can know about automatic renewals, know about notifications, just the little things that you may not necessarily pick up on unless you really sit down and read the whole thing.
Right.
So that allows it to eventually be done and in place prior to the next meeting.
So if we approve it though, I guess my question is, would you come back with any edits or notes to us if there's something that stood out, or you would just?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I made the motion.
Motion on the floor, David Martin.
I'll second.
Second by Mark Fisher. Discussion. Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Jamie Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you for reading through that entire agreement. I started reading and stopped. It's as good as a lot of whereases in there. All right. Purchase order 34943 Civica CMI Authority Easy Pass Utility 6953. Does this have to do with the website or our software for accounting?
This is the software that has to go with Invoice Cloud. Whether we had gone with Smart Bill or Invoice Cloud, we still
right.
needed this piece of the puzzle to link them.
I recall that component.
So this is Civica CMI link.
Okay, great.
So it's just an amendment of their existing agreement then? Or,
It's not I've
Not
worked
an
on
amendment, yeah.
but it's separate agreement, yes.
Okay.
And there will be a yearly maintenance fee of, I think it's like $848. Once we purchase the link.
I recall all this invoice
I do
was
too.
similar to what we discussed in the finance meeting a couple
We got a
months.
motion on the floor. Joe St. John,
I'll second.
second by Mark Fisher. Discussion. Roll call.
Joe St. John?
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Tim Ghost,
Yes.
Jamie Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
We've got purchase order 34890 Edge Technology 4349.98 Marrisport DVR digital audio recording system. Real quick, what that is it's not only kind of a setup similar, much more boiled down than what we have in here, but it also provides surveillance cameras over doors and access points. We felt like it was important within mayor's court to have that second set of eyes. Oftentimes we get asked to provide that type of information, and we may not have it. We may just have something on audio. So that's the short version of what we're approving here. The ability to capture video and audio and enhance security. And it's coming out of the Mayor's Court Fund, if I'm not mistaken. They have plenty of funding there, and I will make that motion.
Second.
Second by Cindy Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Sorry.
Did you say
I was
yes?
like, wait, what is happening?
I was about to step in for Kathy. I thought she was choking, and I was getting ready to say, like, look over here. So I'll say their names.
That's all right. We got Dave Martin, Martin Fisher, Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Tim
Yes.
Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Kevin Yates.
Unanimous. Obviously.
Never seen that one. Man.
Keep you on your toes. Purchase order 34903. CT Consultants 24,055.89. Administration observation, right turn lane, Cherry Street.
This is, what I'm doing is putting a PO out there. They haven't spent it all, but this will put it out there so I can apply for it. So we don't have to do the little POs all the time. We're going to put it out there. We see what they're going to charge us. We make the PO right away.
Okay.
And that's done. And this will clean up the right turn lane that's on Cherry Street.
So this is an open purchase order, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
here's where I would say is that maybe I'm going to explain it my way. And if I say out of line, you tell me. We've encumbered the money. In other words, we put it in a pot that we're saying, yes, we're going to spend. We've appropriated the money. We're saying, yes, we're definitely going to spend this. And then the project goes through, and then there's purchase orders that are generated as a result of us encumbering and appropriating the funds. And then what we're doing again is doing like a third approval saying, yes, we're approving the purchase order. What Kathy's doing is drawing our attention to there's things that are still coming through, projects that we're still paying for. The work's completed, but there's invoices that are coming through, and we're paying them through purchase orders. Again, this is just another classic example of spending limit. I just wanted to call that out as marketing material.
Let's pass that to get the mayor off our backs.
Clean it up.
I just want to call it out.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion. Martin and Elliott. Discussion. Roll call.
Dave Martin,
Mr. St. John, do you want to vote for me? Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Kevin Yates.
We're on to purchase order 34908 CT Consultants, 115,924 on the button. Design, bidding, construction, administration, observation, street project 2021.
And this is for this project for this year for all of CT's billing for the street project.
Okay, so again, another open invoice. So as they invoice us, or another open PO, as they invoice us, we can just pay them. Okay.
Make a motion.
Motion by Martin Fisher,
Second.
second by Greg Elliott. Discussion. The 115,924 would have been included in the 530-ish. Was not included in the 530,000 that we approved to be paid to Columbus Asphalt.
Right.
Thank you. All right. Discussion. Roll call.
Really quick on the discussion piece. Would it be, I see another purchase order for them. Could we not just set an open purchase order for them for all of their projects for like the year?
Here's the problem that I have with auditors. Since we have pass-throughs, they're wanting me to track it. I track it with the project codes. The project codes I trace back to Dave, so Dave and I work on those. If I encumber at the beginning of the year, which I do encumber some money
Yeah.
for the general services, But if I encumber at the beginning of the year, I don't know the project. I don't know if it's a pass-through. I don't know which fund it goes through, and I try really hard to target the project by the codes.
Okay,
So if I do it at the beginning of the year, I don't know where I'm at.
you can't tie it back to the project, basically, is what you're
No,
saying.
I'd have to go in and edit the encumbrance.
Okay,
So I might as well just wait and do it right the first time.
okay.
On a more practical level, what about as we're approving different street programs and large expenses, shouldn't we be including the CT's fees in that? If maybe I'm overthinking this, I know Dave's in the room, so he can chime in, but this is more a question for council. You know, we're thinking we're paying $530,000 for street improvements when really there's $645,000.
Right.
And
So you're saying that we should pay all of the various vendors involved in the project in one fell swoop?
I'm thinking like if I was running this project, yes. If I had a project, I would want to know the total cost.
Yes.
Just like if you're going to do a deck remodel and you know, you get into it and then you're like, shoot, I'm going to add lighting. I got to pay this person. I've been burned lately in my own deck remodel. So if I would have known the total cost on the front end, it would have been great.
Yeah, we definitely should have all costs accounted for when we're talking about a project. That includes CT, that before any project management, after inspect, like the whole thing should be part of the
What about
project.
Little Walnut Creek Interceptor Sewer now that we're on the topic? That was a $3 million project. Were all the fees
Are
in
your
there?
fees in there?
They were not in there? Okay, we'll talk
I
about
think it's a
offline.
good transparency bit too, from a
Yeah.
public standpoint,
Absolutely.
have that all presented together.
Yeah, good deal. We all just learned something here. Good
See
deal.
what happens when the mayor doesn't just approve everything.
I didn't say I would approve $115,000 purchase order. That's not what I'm talking like a $1,500 purchase order.
You can't approve that, right?
No, you split.
Yeah, I can't approve
Oh.
$1,500. Yeah,
So then why are we even talking
Likes to flex that muscle.
Let you look at all of his stuff. He's-
All right, we have
I don't wanna know
we have a
that.
second on the motion discussion.
Yeah, I see.
Roll call.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John.
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
David Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
First order 34909, CT Consultants, $5,000, Price Ponds plat review, pass through.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Greg Elliott, discussion after we have a second. Martin Fisher. Discussion, roll call.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
First order 34907, CT Consultants, 5822.75, General Services.
If you
I
look at
feel like-
that actual PO, I do have it split up for you. I just did not list it that.
It's all detailed here on the
It's on
second
the very
page.
last one. We have, they want, little
Last
school,
page.
we have cemetery, Martindale property, wastewater treatment plant, water plant, zoning, and administration.
Motion to approve.
Motion by
Second.
David Martin, second by Martin Fisher. Discussion? Roll call?
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Are we on to new and unfinished business? Mr. Piles?
Thank you. I did want to note, it was in my report, but it's kind of buried in there under the town hall topic. Safe Flight Auto is coming in toward the end of the month to do a national commercial featuring our town hall and Village Green. They're going to recreate a farmer's market and film a couple commercials here, so.
That's cool.
Cool. When's that?
That's awesome.
Toward the end of the month, I don't want to, I'll get you the date. I don't want to put a public date out because they work best when.
It's Kodak.
See, I can
Kodak
tell you
Kodak.
about filming a a feature film in Granville and them having to cut some scenes because there were a few thousand people hanging around downtown looking for Bruce Willis. So this obviously is a different scale, but I'll share. But it's toward the end of the month that they're coming in.
Well, I mean, if I show up, I mean, and if they need models, just, you know, let them know I'm available.
Extras. Okay.
Thanks for
That's all I
sharing
had.
that, Steve. One other thing, the dispatch is gonna be running a story on, I believe there were 3 municipalities that went from a village to a city, and we are one of them, and I believe I believe we're in the closest proximity to the dispatch. I think the village of Obetz was another one, if I'm not mistaken, and potentially Johnstown. Don't quote me on that. But, you know, we talked about some of the challenges that come along with, you know, village to city, but most of the positive sentiment, economies of scale, you know, diversification, you know, a bunch of the good things that come along with a growing city.
Did they interview you?
Yeah,
Is your picture gonna be in the paper?
I don't know. I'll let you know. Don't know. Maybe. I'll let you know tomorrow afternoon.
Text me immediately.
Go new and unfinished business.
Start at that end. You started with me for committee reports. I don't have any new or unfinished
Yes,
business
sir.
anyway.
I
so.
respect my wise companion. Mr. Elliott.
No.
That looked important. Mr. Ghost?
Nothing tonight, sir.
I don't have any.
Couple.
Nothing here.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. I did want to let you know that one of the very exciting things that we have when we do become a city is we get to appoint a board member to the health district. And Steve Piles and myself are going to be meeting with Sheila Hiddleston next week to talk through that. We don't believe it can be an elected official because of potential conflict of interest, but we're going to discuss that with her next week. And do we need to make anything official at this point that we are not going to pursue our own health district? I felt like we already did that, but.
I feel like we already did, yeah.
We did too. Okay. All right, sounds good. So I'll let you know what comes out of that meeting.
When
We
are we
also-
officially a city? Like when, I know there
It's
was,
still up in the air, but
Okay.
I would say it's at least 30 days out.
okay,
We haven't got our official letter from the Secretary of State yet.
fancy.
Mhm. I'm getting several calls though on it.
Even more fancy.
Last thing I'll mention on the city status is, I believe I mentioned this group, but the county commissioners would like to hold a joint session with us at the county commissioners chambers to more or less sign a proclamation, and you know, it's exciting times in the village of Sunbury and they want to celebrate it with us.
In order for us to do that, do we have to call a special meeting for us to all function together in an event like that?
Yes.
And do we need any special permission to hold one of our meetings outside of the city of Sunbury?
No, I think as long as you need to state the place and the time.
Okay,
I think you're fine as long as you call the public.
all right.
We should have plenty of notice. I mean, I would say at least a few weeks. So good?
Will there be cake and ice cream?
Yes.
You're there.
And wait,
Will they serve refreshments?
Of course. Martin Fisher is. Real quick, summer sizzle and sound. I cannot wait until this weekend. Joe St. John's going to be in the dunk tank from 1 to 2, supporting the Big Walnut Athletic Boosters. So please bring your funds.
Easy, I'll
Have
be
a good
there.
time.
I'll stop by on my way to the
Bring all your kids and
Fair
kindergarten,
Garden.
anybody else who wants to throw a
Chicken
ball to support the Athletic Boosters.
can't wait.
We do have safety briefings and things in the morning. There is business with the police and sheriffs and fire department and all types of folks. And then the last thing I did want to say is I spoke to Neil Cruz. Am I saying his name correctly? From Fallen Heroes. Neil. Cruz. Okay, you passed me his name, Steve. Who's Fallen Heroes? Who's the head of the Fallen Heroes?
It's Neil. He used to own the firehouse tower.
Neil's heavily involved in it, so was Jerry Johnson.
Former owner of the Firehouse Tavern. Yes, he reached out to me. On 9/11 this year, we'll mark the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and it's going to be a pretty big event. I was asked to MC the event, which is a true honor, and we're going to have Senator Portman there. We believe potentially Troy Balderson, Pat Tebary, and hopefully quite a few families, Gold Star families. So if you can attend, it's 9/11. It's Saturday. It's actually on the date, and it's at 4 p.m. and
Here?
at the Fallen Heroes Memorial. So I did want to let you know about that as well. With that said, is there any other new or unfinished business? Anything from our paid professionals? All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Greg Elliott.
I'll second.
Second by Tim Ghost. Discussion? I heard Cindy Coop. Did you say executive session?
No, executive session.
Roll call?
Greg Elliott,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Campbell,
Yes.
Joe St. John,
Yes.
Martin Fisher,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.